It doesn't matter if you're going to the same thickness of wood or if you're going to a different thickness of wood. Step 2, set your jig. Now we always recommend that you start with your tail, so here's the tip. You're always going to start with the thickest side first. Now you don't want to put it on the end of your jig because it doesn't balance well. You want it somewhere towards the middle. Now we call these the quick and easy clamps because that's what they are, quick and easy. Now what I need to do is center my board. I want to put the same amount of wood on both sides. If you expose the ends, in other words, you can see both ends. If you leave it like this, when you get done, it's going to look similar to that. If you cover up the ends, when you get done, it's going to look like this.
Gotcha.
And that's what we're working on right now. So I'm just going to let my fingers be the guide. I'm going to try to put the same amount of wood on both sides. And that feels pretty close to me right there. Over here, we've turned it upside down to show you how it works on the router table. See how I have a little bit of space on this side of the board and I have the same amount of space on the other side? That's what we call centering our board. Now, if you want to use it on the router table, which is how I made this chest, you're just going to raise that bit up to that line, turn on your router, and away you go. That line is going to keep you perfectly centered no matter what. Now, I don't have a condition that I shake. My brother has a condition that it's always shaking. As long as you don't lift it off the table, it doesn't matter how much you shake. That bearing is going to keep you perfectly centered every single time. So with our system, you can use it either way. Now, as you can see, I've already lowered my router bit down to that line. Can you see that? So now we're ready to go.
Planning on your part.
It's not my first rodeo. Now, if you watch me, once I turn on the router, I really don't even have to watch what I'm doing. It's so simple, you can do it blindfolded, just like tracing a line. Now remember, the slower you go in your wood is always the better cut. So slower is better. We've been cutting dovetails by hand for over 200 years. Now we made it easy for anyone to do it. It's so easy you can do it blindfolded. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I'm cutting through a hardwood. Most guys out here just cut through pine or cedar.
While you're doing that, I can get the order from my wife for the groceries in the afternoon. Huh? As she comes in when I'm paying attention.
Now we're going to go with the grain and clean off the fuzz.
Yeah.
And we're going to mark this side with an X. So in case you pass it around, I know what side we just finished. And there, my friend, is your perfectly spaced tails. Now, to be honest with you, the tailboard is always the easiest because it really doesn't matter which way you turn it over to do the other side, because a tail is just a tail. But the pin board does matter. When you get done with your pin side, when you go to turn it, you're going to turn it to the right or to the left, just like this. Because if you flip it, when you go to put it together, you're going to have a box that looks like a Z. Not that I've ever done it.
Yeah.
Now, seriously though, the second board is the hardest, and step 1 is the hardest of all. So here we go with step number 1. We're going to take one of our fingers and we're going to line up the edge of our board. If you can do that, you got it made. Now you'd either use a pencil, a pocket knife, or a scoring tool. And on the inside of one of these cuts, it really doesn't matter which one. You're just going to mark it on both sides, just like that. Now my eyesight's not as good as it once was, so I'm going to darken that in with the pencil. Now the way the router bit rotates is clockwise. So if you're standing where I'm standing, it's always going to be the left side that's going to want to tear apart. It's what we call blowout. I found the best way to stop that is a simple piece of tape. Now my template is a 1/2 inch thick, so you want to go almost a 1/2 inch. You're actually going to cut through the tape. Step 3, step 2, set your, draw your line, set your router, your jig. And now we're going to get the clamps ready and then we'll do our final adjustment. Now I see the lines right there. I'm just going to tap it over to where it just barely covers it up. Then I'm going to tighten it down. Step 3, put in your router bit and set your depth of cut. Now this is a flush trim bit. It's going to get rid of all that extra wood that you don't need. If you were here at the beginning, you remember me telling you that with our system, it doesn't matter if you're going to the same thickness or if you're going to a different thickness. All you need to do is take the board you cut first, set it on top of your jig, and you're going to lower that bit down to that carbide touches that board. just like you see that I've already done right here. Changed that bit pretty fast, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm not that fast at home. Tip number 4, if you take 2 boards that are the same thickness, put them side by side, this will balance out your router and make it easy to make that adjustment. I like mine just a touch, just like that. Now, if you were here just a minute ago, you see me cut this first board without looking. Well, now I'm going to do the matching board the same way. There's no other jig in this building that they can do both boards without looking. But then again, there's no other jig in this building that can go from 3/4 inch thick stock down to a 1/4 inch thick stock, and you never have to readjust your jig. This is the simplest jig at the show. Now, my first cut, the sawdust is going to come this way. After that, the sawdust is going to go this way. Not a whole lot, just a little. So here we go. Now, it doesn't matter which way you start from, right to left, left to right. I tried them both. It really doesn't matter. So here we go. Now, some people like to go in straight, out straight, over the edge, finish the cut. Once again, in straight, out straight, over the edge, finish the cut. Then there's other people that like to go back and forth. And then there's some that like to go in one side and out the other side. It really doesn't matter. Woodworking is supposed to be fun, not hard. Now I'm going to do one last pass to make sure I have it.